Hey, I'm Courtney Waterman, your tutor. Lover of anime, manga, and math. And you just tuned into another session of Tutor Me Senpai. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're jumping into a 12th grade topic, finding both of your formulas for your geometric sequence when you're only given 2 terms. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'll be putting time codes in for this video in the description box below. So use it to skip ahead to whatever part of the video you think is most interesting. As always, if you have any questions about what you see today or even on homework, you can always put in the comment box below or visit my Facebook page at Tutor Me Senpai and tell me all about it there. At the end of this video, I'll be linking my 12th grade playlist in which I cover a lot more topics. So if you're interested in that, make sure you stay tuned. This video is only going to have one part, so leave a like, smash subscribe, and let's get started. If you've been following along with me on this channel, we've talked a bit about geometric sequences, and if you missed any of those videos, you can find them right up here. However, in today's video, we're going to be putting a bow on this topic. We're going to actually finish this topic off by finding our explicit formula and our recursive formula when we're only given 2 terms from your geometric sequence. Now notice we have a 5th term and an 8th term. Our a sub 5 is going to be a -6, and our a sub 8 is going to be a -3/4. Now using just these 2 terms, let's find both of our formulas. The first thing we want to do is find your general form of your formulas, and that's going to be our a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. This is our explicit formula, the general form of our explicit formula, and our recursive one is going to look like this. A sub 1 equals some number k, and you have a sub n equaling a sub n minus 1 times r. This is our recursive. So these are going to be the general forms of our 2 formulas. Now, what do we got to do to get started doing this question? Well, notice in order to fill this in, we're just missing 2 components. We don't know the r and we don't know this k. So we need to find our common ratio and we need to find our a sub 1. If we know both of these, we can fill in the blanks and then we'll be done with this question. So let's first start with finding our common ratio, our r. Here we have a sub 5 and a sub 8. If you were trying to go from a sub 5, let's say you were starting here, and you want to go all the way to a sub 8, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have your a sub 8 is going to equal a sub 5 times your common ratio, but how many times is it going to be multiplied by that common ratio? Well, let's say you're starting at a sub 5, and you're going to a sub 6, a sub 7, and a sub 8. You're going to be multiplying that common ratio 3 times. So this r times r times r. This is what's going to get you from a sub 5 to a sub 8. And you can always rewrite this as a sub 8 equals a sub 5 times r cubed. Luckily, we know what a sub 8 and a sub 5 are, so we can plug that in. We're going to have a -3/4 equals a -6 times r cubed. Now we just try to get r by itself. Let's divide both sides by -6. When we do that, we're going to have a positive is no longer negative because both of these are negative. We're going to have a positive, I just said positive, 3/24 equals r cubed. Now we can simplify this 3/24. That's going to be 1/8. By simplifying 3/24, we got 1/8, which means that our r cubed is going to equal 1/8. And if we were to cube both sides, so find the, sorry, not cube both sides, but find the cube root of both sides, we would get a final result of r equaling what? What do you get when you do a cube root of 1/8? Well, that's going to be the cube root of that. R is going to be 1 over the cube root of 8. And we know that the cube root of 8 is going to be 2. So r is going to equal a positive 1/2. So starting from here, just understanding how geometric sequences work, we are going to get from here to here, and then we're going to plug in everything that we had, a 5 and a sub 8, and then simplify until we get our r equaling 1/2. So now we know half of what we were missing. R is going to equal 1/2. Now we just need to find our a sub 1, and this is going to be very similar to what we did in our previous videos. We're going to start with our general form of our explicit formula in order to solve for an a sub 1. Now before you write your general form of your explicit formula, notice that you have two a's to choose from. You can do a sub 5 or you do a sub 8. Now, your a sub 8 has a fraction, so if you don't want to use fractions or have to be constrained to having a fraction, then maybe start with your whole number. So let's say we have an a sub 5 here. A sub 5, if this is our general form, and we know in this case our n is going to equal 5, right? Then we can just plug in the rest. So a sub 1 times r to the 5 minus 1, or 4th power. Now we plug in what we know. A sub 5 is going to equal a negative 6. We don't know what a sub 1 is. That's what we're trying to solve for. We know that our r is going to be 1/2 to the 4th power. We can simplify this. This is going to be a negative 6 equals a sub 1 times what's 1/2 to the 4th power. Well, this is going to be 1/16. Now all we got to do is solve for a sub 1, and when we do that, notice we have a negative, right? Negative 6 times 16, which results in a negative 96. So a sub 1 is going to be a negative 96. We found the last piece of our puzzle here, negative 96. R is going to be 1/2. A sub 1 is going to be a negative 96. All we have left to do for this question is plug in both of these numbers into both of our formulas and then see what we get. Starting with our explicit formula, we're going to have a sub n. Remember, this is the general formula for this geometric sequence, so we don't really have an n here. So a sub n equaling a sub 1, which we know to be a negative 96, times r, which we know to be a positive 1/2 to the n minus 1st power. This is going to be our explicit formula, for this geometric sequence. Now let's find our recursive formula, and that's just going to simply be a sub 1, well, we know that to be negative 96, and we have an a sub n equaling a sub n minus 1 times our r, which is going to be a positive 1/2. This is going to be our recursive formula. And notice we found both of our formulas when we were only given two terms from this geometric sequence. That's all you need when you're trying to find your formulas. Just got to make sure you know how to start your question. If you start properly and you know where you're ending, then the middle will fall in line. Well, I hope you were able to follow along with today's video and you see that finding both your formulas when you're just given two terms of your geometric sequence should be pretty simple if you know exactly where you're starting. Now, if you have any questions about what you saw today or even your own homework, you can always put in the comment box below or visit my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. If you hadn't done so already, remember to leave that like. It surely helps the channel by letting YouTube know that you found the video helpful. And if you found the video helpful, so can someone else. So leave a like, hit the notification bell, smash the subscribe button, and share this video with a friend. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I'm really hoping this helped with your homework. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. I'm Courtney, here's your playlist, and this has been another session of Tutor Me Sempai.